All right, it's 12:07, December 27th. And see, that's a synchronicity for me. Because 12:07, December 27th. Well, 7 just so happens to be what you call an odd number. And there's even numbers and odd numbers. And so, odd numbers match odd numbers, even numbers match even numbers. All right, now look. I just finished. See, I'm pulling my scaffolding back. Okay. Because Duungbutter rule number 5. No Duungbutter shall ever surpass the crack of the Duungbutter ass. And that is a Duungbutter fact. Okay? All right, that's rule number 5, okay? You want to know why I named that rule number 5? Okay, because that's rule number 4. And you see how I redid this? See? I outlined the letters, the white letters in black. 2 grandies from Grandide, or Grandid. I actually made those words up, but my next door neighbor said that she looked them up and they're out from Australia. See, so I might have tapped in to the Akashic record, and it might have had some information from Australia. Anyway, okay. Look. Duungbutter Day. Duungbutter Day. We, the greater, the wiser, smarter, and the Dunger, hereby join the fight for true Duungbutter. Remember, Grandies, we know Duungbutter is the answer. Duungbutter is nowhere and everywhere. Is, while hid, it is not last. Work hard and keep the crack of your ass smiling forever. Forever yours. Duungbutter. That was number 4. All right, this section here is number 3. Okay. During the advent of Duungbutter, they made Duungbutter. Do I love you? I love you too, boo. And they made Duungbutter. Warning: Duungbutter is only as good as the person using it. Duungbutter will ease the pain of the working ass and keep the mother hook away. Apply to ass crack. And nothing works like Duungbutter to keep the crack of your ass smiling. And see, I did the bands. And then, okay. The origin of Duungbutter. Duungbutter was found here 2 days before Christmas 2025. America was under siege, run by ass-suckers and clowns, the monsters of Mar-a-Lago. A pedile fiend. Nevertheless, God gave us Duungbutter. This memorial declares December 23rd a holy day for thanks. And, look, on the way out, I'm saying Duungbutter for all. And this is rule number 1. Under the devil's grin. It was there in our Duungbutter we found faith to survive. We, the people, led by the unknowing, have been doing so much with so little. We now know we can do anything with nothing at all. And of course, where it all starts, the predecessor. Duungbutter, declared holy 1223 in the year of our Lord 2025, believing everyone can have Duungbutter before the government forces explicitive up your ass. And so, and then, okay, look. And then, that being said, okay, look, I have deeper thoughts too. I mean, look, I got my cross. And I'm just gonna cap it off one more time, with, okay, this is the true meaning of dung butt. Okay. Rule number 5. No dung butt shall ever pass the crack of the dung butt ass. That is a dung butt fact, okay? Now look. I've spent some time, considerable amount of time, and when I realized that December 23rd actually had to be the real true day of holiday for the celebration of Duungbutter and everything that Duungbutter can mean and everything that Duungbutter does mean. And look, Duungbutt just doesn't come out of, well, it does come out of nothing, but in the sense that I'm talking, okay, it doesn't just come out of nothing, all right? Duungbutter has a great deal of history. And Duungbutter means hard work, because Duungbutter is, in the final analysis, the secretion from the crack of your ass. And that is Duungbutter. And in Duungbutter can be found such great mysteries of life, and actually everything that life actually means, okay, comes out of Duungbutter. It comes out of nothing except the secretion from the crack of your ass. And what that means is hard work, because your ass can only secrete if your ass is a hard working ass. Okay? It's the hard-working ass that makes the Duungbutter. Don't ever let anybody tell you that Duungbutter is not the magic from the crack of the ass, because it is. And Duungbutter is hard work. And hard work expressed right from the crack of a person's ass. And look, I did a lot of hard work. Look. And that's why I got right up there. No, not for sissies. Okay? Sissies don't make Duungbutter, for one thing. And they don't even know what Duungbutter is. And even if, since they don't know what Duungbutter is, they probably even try to make fun of Duungbutter. But that's because they just don't even know anything. Well, now look, I'm just gonna look. I had to make that notification, and I had that spot right there. Okay, right there on that side over there. See, rule number 5, because that's the way it came to me, okay? That's the 5th kind of thing that I did. Subtracting, not including my not for sissies sign and everything, but on the outward facing stuff, I had to put on there about Duungbutter, because my initial thought was that the government was pushing a lot of dildos up the American ass. And I could have wrote down a lot of them dildos, okay? A lot of them. I mean, I can't even believe that in our history we actually belong to the year 1776 of the Declaration of Independence. I can't even believe that that's actually in our history, because don't seem like to me to be what we're standing for Don't seem to me to be like we're standing for the Declaration of Independence or the preamble to the Constitution of the American Alliance in the United States of America, or the colonies that first started. And Duungbutter was very, very heavily involved in all that, because what Duungbutter means is hard work. And people made a lot of mistakes, okay? And they did a lot of things in vain, okay? But they still did it in the spirit of Duungbutter. And they had the power of Duungbutter. Because Duungbutter could not even ever really be defined, okay? But Duungbutter was true because we all had it. And we all had, just like we all got Duungbutter, we all got the crack of our ass, too. And you got to put your ass to work sometimes, you got to actually work hard. And when you do work hard, you will find, okay, that the crack of your ass can make what is called Duungbutter. And that's the meaning of Duungbutter. Now, it just so happened that before I went out there to finish, because when I realized that I had to actually make a clarification, and I had the last part of my, like my sign or my billboard, the backside of my climbing wall, I had that made just like the shell on a turtle. Okay, just like that shell on a turtle, I got my back wall of my climbing wall, and on the underside, on the inside, okay, toward me, I got the softer stuff, like the rock, and that's what I'm gonna be starting on next, the rock, and I'm gonna build up the rock, and make it climbable, and pretty soon I'm gonna be done with the mountain of Duungbutter, which is in fact the mountain of truth cloaked. It's cloaked, just like the Star Trek ships and stuff like that, just like they can be cloaked so they're invisible. Okay, well, I want to know something, okay? Duungbutter is also cloaked in a lot of stuff. That's why if you go looking for Duungbutter, you will never actually be able to pin Duungbutter down. And that's what I said before. You can't really pin. And if you go to try to say, oh, there's Duungbutter, no. See, you can be proven wrong, but that's the way Duungbutter is, okay? And you just got to know Duungbutter. Now, I'm gonna, just for the last part here, because this is I'd Rather Go Blind by Beth Hart. And she already did the good part that I like, okay? But this is just another part of the rift, okay? And I just want to spell this one out real quick, because this one synchronistically came right before, when I was felt commissioned to actually go and write the last part of my turtle shell kind of billboard out, and about Duungbutter, and say the actual statement, because it all came together. My next door neighbor asked me what Duungbutter actually meant. I told her it meant the sweat from the crack of your ass. That's Duungbutter. But it means a lot more than just the sweat from the crack of your ass. That is just a symbol. That's just a symbol for what real life means. Okay? And Beth Hart had something to say in here, so I'm just gonna put this down real quick and then just play it and just see if synchronistically what happens here, because I believe in synchronistic stuff. Here we go.
I said that I don't want to see you leave. Please don't go. And oh, babe, and oh, babe, I'm babe, and I'd rather be a blind girl. Something told me that it was over, baby. When I saw you and that girl, y'all were talking, and something deep down in my soul said, go on and try, girl.
Well, okay, the last word of what she said. Something said, go on and try, girl. Something said, go on and try, girl. See, I knew there was something synchronistic here, for me to say. And that's what it was. Something said, go on and try. And that's what Duungbutter is all about. You gotta try. Keep trying until that crack of your ass makes Duungbutter. And if you're climbing the mountain of truth, you'll be secreting some Duungbutter. No, I'm just saying. Well, I'm just gonna call this one secreting Duungbutter. All right.